My name's Manus. I've been with the Open Heart Sanger since autumn 2017, which is about 8 or 9 months ago now. And that was when the old Dharma Mind group merged with Open Heart. So I was a member of Dharma Mind since early 2017, so only about 10 months or so. And before that, just maybe a couple of years of kind of getting familiar with meditation and pursuing it mostly by myself, and going to a few centres in Dublin for some guided practices and drop-in sessions and stuff like that. But yeah, very much a beginner and early days. So when Open Heart came along, what I first heard about it was that it had this thing called a 2PF, a two-part formula, which was or is a method of generating awakening, and that was a bit of a surprise, a bit of a shock, and totally unexpected. And what this specific awakening was, I didn't really know too much about. Didn't really know anything about awakening, like in terms of the mechanics of it, what it actually meant, and it wasn't really something that was consciously on my radar that I thought was possible. So it wasn't something that I was actively seeking. I was seeking, progress and peace of mind and freedom from self, but I don't think I really comprehended what was on offer initially, and so I read the materials of the 2PF, and that was an instant sort of impact, and it was a real kind of it struck a chord, and I knew instantly that it was real, and that it would most likely work. And what struck me about it was how direct it was, but mostly how it was bringing awareness to this thing that awareness hadn't been brought to before for me, and it was really targeting this thing. And what that was the subject self, and so yeah, that was what made it jump out, and that's what kind of what resonated. And I can remember this subject self kind of an operation in my life, and I can remember how it ran the show to a large extent, and how it came everywhere with me, and it got in the way in life a lot, and I can remember catching it many times, and how it manifested was in these thoughts and stories and feelings about myself that I would have, and that I would really believe in and be really attached to, and ultimately what all those thoughts and stories and feelings did was that they kind of reinforced this idea that I was different somehow to other people, that I was separate from other people in the world, and so they made this connection with people in the world around me quite difficult and quite a challenge. And sometimes I would challenge these views I had about myself, and sometimes I'd kind of recognise that they weren't helpful, they weren't real, and I would try and work with them and try and practice with them, but really I didn't really have a defence against them. There wasn't really any permanent solution that I had, and they were having a real negative impact on my life. And what the 2PF was doing was it was targeting the source of these thoughts and feelings, and it was locating these thoughts and feelings. And that was pretty powerful, and it made for quite an interesting experience, and quite an empowering experience to be given a method to target this thing and to see through it for good. And so, I mean, that was a really liberating experience, and eventually by applying the 2PF, it fell away, this old false self was seen through for good, and it was a deep and lasting realization, and it was seen for what it was basically, which was nothing more than a bundle of thoughts and feelings, and since then there's this sense of being freed up and feeling more natural, feeling how it seems like it should feel without that extra self, and there's a sense of oneness and spaciousness, and noticing that absence of the old self, like kind of, it hasn't come back. It's still only 6 months or so, so it's still new, but it feels right and it feels natural, and it's really good, and it's brought me into much more direct contact with the world and the people around me, and without that main obstacle in the way, and that source of, you know, those thoughts and feelings and the stories that were separating me, and so it's kind of a quieter experience in the mind. It's simpler, it's more natural, and not only has it freed me up in life in general and made direct experience much easier, more natural, it's also freed me up in terms of my meditation, and it means that meditation's much less of a challenge now, and there isn't that old struggle with myself like there used to be, and that tug of war. I can just sit now and just be, basically, and that's really, really nice, really beneficial for my practice. So when I think about it now, what the 2PF was offering, it was what I was looking for, but I just mightn't have been able to, you know, articulate it, but the feeling that it's given me, and this lasting feeling, it's definitely the kind of freedom that I've been looking for. And having said all that, it's only a beginning, and it feels like that too. It feels significant, but it feels like it's only a beginning, because what it's done is it's kind of opened me up to practice, and it's opened me up to life, and that was really just the most basic thing that needed to happen for me to be able to kind of experience and live life and practice fully, and it's made me more receptive to the teachings. It's made me kind of understand the teachings more, and to be able to get on board with them more, and it's given me this enthusiasm, because meditation now is quite enjoyable, and yeah, so it's really freed me up, and it's kind of made a lot of things possible, a lot of progress possible, and with open heart, I have a daily practice of Tibetan heart yoga, which is a really enjoyable practice, and I like it because there's a lot of life in it, and there's a lot of energy in it, and I can feel stuff happening with it, and it's kind of made the path a lot clearer and a lot less confusing, and you know, can feel progress happening. You can feel this momentum in the practice now, and so it's a really encouraging experience, and the Sangha has been a really great Sangha to be a part of, because like myself, everybody else is having this really enjoyable experience and life-changing experiences, and making progress, so it makes for a really positive atmosphere in the group and during our meditation sessions and at retreats and everything. So yeah, I feel really lucky to have been given these teachings, and that they've been made accessible to me and to the rest of the Sangha, and yeah, I'm really grateful, and it's been a really significant time, and so much has happened, and it's all happened very quickly, so it's still kind of, you know, still a beginner, and still early days, and still with a lot to learn and a lot to go, and but it's made everything pretty enjoyable and pretty exciting, so I'm really grateful for that, and just wanted to share my experience. So thanks for listening, and I'll see you. Thank you.